Hey friends, Dr. Christy here. Have you ever had it happen before where you wake up out of nowhere one morning, or throughout the course of your day, you start to feel intense pain in your back or in your shoulder or something, or your hip, and you have no idea where it came from, and it feels stabby. You get swollen like you literally had an injury, like you literally fell down the stairs and suddenly you have this massive injury. But the catch is you didn't fall down the stairs. The catch is that you didn't have an injury. So what gives? There's this magical little thing in your body called the ileocecal valve, and it is the massive mimicker. It can literally lead to and cause nearly anything: pain, inflammation, and swelling without trauma. For me, in my practice, I see this very, very frequently, especially in sciatica that comes out of nowhere, especially on the right side, because here is how this ends up working. The ileocecal valve is it's a valve between the small and large intestine. So essentially, it's kind of like your doorway, a flap doorway between your kitchen and your garbage chute. So in the kitchen, you're cooking, you're nourishing your body, you're getting everything that you need into your body in a good, healthy way. Everything that you want to absorb and take into your body happens in the small intestine. Everything that you don't want to keep in your body goes into the large intestine, down the garbage chute. That little flap is responsible for keeping garbage in the garbage and things we want to absorb in that area until that valve gets irritated. If it gets stuck in an open position, we could be losing vital nutrients that we wish we were holding on to. On the other hand, if it gets stuck open, we could also be backwashing feces and other toxins that we don't want being absorbed into our bloodstream. On the other hand, if we have that valve too tightly closed, the same thing can kind of happen, right? So once the small intestine is done absorbing all the things that it wants to take in, ideally we want that valve to open so it can move things out. But if that valve is too tightly closed, you're likely to feel constipated, you're likely to feel bloated, you're likely to feel all these toxic symptoms of just not feeling right, or sometimes it can literally lead to massive low back pain. So when this valve gets irritated, it can literally irritate and inflame the tissues and the muscles underneath it, therefore leading to more spasms, more compensations, and then suddenly out of nowhere, oh my gosh, I have back pain, I have sciatica, I have a headache, my shoulder gave out, whatever it might be. If you have these kinds of symptoms through no obvious injury, look to the ileocecal valve. Now you may ask, what causes the ileocecal valve to do this random thing? Shouldn't it just be under normal control? Yes, lots of things can throw this valve out of whack. We call them the DAPES, D-A-P-E-S. Diet, allergies, parasites, and emotional stress. So pretty much most of us have all 4 of these things at any given point. So depending on what your particular situation looks like, I ask you to, if this is a situation you found yourself in more than one time, I ask you to reflect. Things that in our diet can cause irritation in the small large intestine area, leading to valve disturbance, are things like popcorn, chips, nuts, seeds, anything rough that can literally, popcorn, if you think about the shards of the kernels, they can literally act like razor blades in the gut, causing disruption and inflammation and maybe even some blood if you didn't chew your food thoroughly all the way. So that could happen. Additionally, like you said, if you're eating something that you're allergic to, obviously that's going to cause inflammation. Same thing with parasites. If you get an overgrowth of dysbiosis or other things in there that don't belong. And then emotions, as you've heard me talk about before, can pretty much cause anything. That's my PSA of the day. So if you or someone that you know has experienced some kind of pain, inflammation, and sciatica, and intense hip pain out of nowhere when there's no obvious structural cause, look to that ICV. And if you have questions, just drop them below and let me know. Talk to you soon.